I'm your host, Krista Gibson, and I'm also the publisher of NewSpiritJournal.com. This program and our publication are dedicated to helping us ground our spirituality into our daily lives, thus keeping it real. First, I would like to tell you about today's sponsor of this program, and it is sponsored by Ananda, who is offering a wonderful program this Friday night, June 9th, and another one on Saturday, June 10th. On Friday, June 9th, from 7 to 9 p.m., they're offering Awaken Your True Potential, Be the Change You Seek. And it's going to be a night of meditation and chanting and some yoga demonstration. It's being led by Joy Tish and Davy Novak, who are the international spiritual leaders of Ananda, and they will be joined by an interfaith group, interfaith leaders, Imam Jamal Rahman, Rabbi Ted Falcon, and the Reverend Michael Ingersoll. This is taking place at the Center for Spiritual Living at 5801 Sandpoint Way, Northeast in Seattle, June 9th, 7 to 9. And on Saturday from 10:30 to 2:30, there will be a 4-hour meditation workshop retreat with Joy Tish and Davy. Both of these events are meant to inspire and educate, and I believe that you will enjoy one or both. So strongly encourage you to do all you can to certainly come to the Friday night one, if at all possible. And you can find out more information. We're putting the link right here so you can see it. Now, if this is after the fact and you're thinking, darn it, I didn't get to go, I suggest go to awakenwa.com, and that's AWAKENWA.com, and I'm putting that on the screen. And you will find there are many different events that Ananda is involved with. And also go to eastwestbookshop.com, because there's events, sometimes 2 or 3 a day at East West Bookshop. So both of those are wonderful opportunities for you to have places that you can go and be with folks of like mind and be inspired. So, my guest today, and this is why I'm wearing my butterfly scarf, my guest today is animal communicator, Darcy Pariso. And Darcy is going to tell us, she's been talking to the animals for years and they talk to her. So she is going to tell us how she became an animal communicator, what it feels like when she does this, and she's going to give us some tips in case we would like to do it ourselves. So please join me as I welcome Darcy Pariso.
Okay.
Hi, Darcy. How are you today?
Oh, I'm just great, Krista. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Oh, I'm glad that you could be here with us. So I told people that you're an animal communicator and you talk to animals and they talk back. Can you tell us a bit about how did you become an animal communicator and kind of what happens when you communicate?
Oh, sure. I'd love to do that. I took a Reiki course in 2010 and 11, became a Reiki master, and it just came in. As I was practicing on my friends on a massage table, I started hearing things and then seeing things. And I asked, what do I do with this? Because some of the information was kind of, odd to me.
Right.
But then the person on the table would say, my grandmother used to always say that, or my father did that. So what I was told was, give them the information. It's not yours. So soon it was mediumship was coming in. Animals were walking across my room and bouncing up and down. You can see me. You can see me. And they were so excited.
I'll bet.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And my friends kept saying, you're an animal communicator. And I didn't see it. I said, well, I'm not a vet tech or I don't know. And they kept showing up. And I said, okay, I get it.
So did you have a strong relationship with animals growing up? I mean, did you communicate with them?
Yeah.
Like
yes,
I've
always.
You were communicating all the time when you were a child with the animals?
Well, I know that I was now, but at the time I didn't.
Gotcha. Okay. So from that, so first it wasn't really animals. It was from the people when you were doing Reiki with them that you first started getting information.
Right. It was people's loved ones came in from the other side. whether that was a grandmother, a brother, a friend, and started bringing messages in. And then animals from the other side started coming in. So it came in more as mediumship first.
Right. Interesting. And so how did that evolve into you doing communication with live animals?
Well, I was guided to go to Arthur Findlay College and to study mediumship. And the week that I got there, I started getting information from animals just very quickly. And the majority of that class became an animal communication class.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I laughed. I said, I get it.
And so how did you take that then from there? How did you, because you've developed this into a business, how did you do that piece?
Yes. What I learned before I went to Arthur Findlay was that I worked with St. Francis of Assisi and Archangel Gabriel, and that I had a soul contract or agreement to work with them together. They showed me a lot of animal abuse and showed me why I'm so committed to doing this. So they work through me and they give me information. They help bring healing through, messages through. And so I feel very supported and very guided and very, I guess, almost driven to complete this work and to help animals, speak for them.
And then you help other people learn how to do this also.
I do. And that's one of my oh, it's so fun. One of my deepest passions is to teach people how to communicate. Excuse me. And it is being childlike, and it's trusting, and it's allowing.
So tell us more, like if somebody's watching this and they think, well, I want to learn how to talk to my animals, what can you tell them about how to do that?
Well, I would tell them, first of all, that animals communicate simply when they have a need. And so from their perspective, they're giving us information all the time. They're checking our energy. Are you happy or sad? They're looking at your, your third eye, looking at that TV screen, and what are they thinking? How does that impact me? Will I be going with them? So they're always watching us. And you might be driving home one day and get this idea that I should stop at the pet store and get my dog a treat, or take him for a walk when I get home, and trust that is coming from your animal or your dog or your cat. And then from the human side, it's, like I said, it's just really allowing. And I always tell people to practice with friends or families, dogs, cats, horses. And that way they can build confidence and get some verifiable information. You can also just walk out your back door, go to the beach, take a walk, and start asking birds, do you have a message for me? A spider, a squirrel, and you'll be surprised. You'll be so surprised at all the things that they'll tell you.
So how do you know it's them and not just your own?
That is you making it up?
Yeah, you making it up. Yeah, how do
people say,
you know?
I think I made that up. And I say, no, trust it. Trust anything that you get. And just keep being open and just listening.
So basically try, if it was advice or whatever, try it and see what happens. Yeah, because how you know it's accurate is, first of all, if you practice on animals other than your own to start, you can get some, verifiable feedback from someone. But true. Otherwise, what I tell people is how you're accurate is that it comes quickly and probably before you even finish the question. Maybe you have the thought and you get the answer. And you just know. You just absolutely know. So there are different ways. And often it's unusual. It's not something that you would ever say or that you would ever even think of. So if you're getting something that's a little unusual, maybe that is from the animal rather than from you.
Yeah. So somebody might call me and say, my animal's doing this, and I hear the message right away what it is. Oh, he's doing this because of this and this. And I haven't even heard the whole question. And I just absolutely know that that's correct.
Right.
Or I'll say, I've never heard this before, but he's telling me. Or it's some phrase or words to a song, because I'm very clairaudient. I often hear songs too. And I have this phrase. I talked to a woman yesterday and I said, your dog is saying, I gave her this phrase, and I knew that it was familiar, but I couldn't quite place it. And we Googled it. It was a song by Billy Ocean, and he wanted her to know the bulk of those words for the message.
How fun is that?
So it comes in all different ways.
So basically it's a case of just starting to do it. It sounds like. It doesn't sound like, because I know you give classes on this. So do you tell people to use a certain process
I do. I do. I think it's really helpful to jumpstart everything, to take a class and to start reading books. And it's, I give people questions. Ask your friend, exchange pictures with your neighbor, with somebody in the class, and start asking these questions and get back some feedback. And their confidence shoots up right away. And they might get it through feeling, they might hear it, they might see it. And I don't know where this came from, but I just thought, they just know. And then their partner will say, that's exactly his personality. And yes, he does have a sore leg. And it really is that easy. Wow. And it's getting out of your, you get out of your own way.
Right. And isn't that true in life in general?
Yes. Yeah, it really
Things
is.
go so much better when we get out of our own way. So you talk to horses, cows, squirrels,
yes,
whatever.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what the species is. Do you get, do their voices sound different?
No, I hear them more in my head. So I hear speaking in my head, not so much like a voice. I mean, it's just a hearing. I don't know how I can explain that unless you have the experience.
So it's not actual words necessarily. Because that's what I was wondering, if their personality, because I know, dogs and cats, they all have their own personality, if that comes across.
Oh, very much so. And some dogs are really funny. My own Havanese the other day joked with me. I asked her how she was doing, and she made a joke. And that's the first time she's done that. I really laughed. I had a King Charles Spaniel who has since crossed over. And for many years, I thought he just was so sweet. And, I always told him he's so sweet, he's so handsome. And then my first conversation with him, he said, I'm a stubborn old cuss. And I didn't want to believe it. I'm like, no, because you look like this.
Right, you're so sweet. How could you be a stubborn old cuss?
But he proved it. He was right.
So you're able, besides listening to them talk to you, you're able to give them information. Have you seen, through doing that, have you been able to impact the animals' behavior? Have you been able to help people change their animals' behavior by communicating to them?
Oh, very much so. And I would say that that's the bulk of my work. Sometimes I have dogs or cats that have been rehomed. They lost their family member. They were in a shelter. And just by sharing their story, I tell them what happened to you. And sometimes it's painful. And I just tell them, get it out, give it to me. And I can get rid of it. I can send you some healing energy and get rid of that. But by being able to find out, maybe their person was moved to assisted living facility. Maybe they crossed over and they weren't sure. Or there's things that are not resolved. So just being able to have a conversation changes everything. And then giving them a job often is really important. You go to a new home and you don't know, what am I supposed to do? Well, no one's told me, so I guess I'll protect them. And that means barking and and maybe behaviors you don't want.
Right.
Yeah.
So what kind of job would you give an animal to do?
It depends on their personality, and they are so diverse, like you said.
Right.
Some are funny, some are serious, some are focused. But a lot of dogs do well by maybe becoming the friendly greeter. And then you give them a job description. So what that means is, knock, knock, knock at the door. Okay, you can bark. Thank you for letting me know that somebody's here with 3 barks. And if they bark 5 times, that's okay. And then you quietly walk to the door and you greet the person, and then they go and lay down.
Right.
But you need to tell them what that means, because a lot of people will say, do this, but they don't understand the description. So,
what about with cats? Because there's that old thing of dogs have masters and cats have staff. I mean, how easy or difficult is it to communicate with cats and get them to make behavior changes?
Well, it's as easy to communicate with the dogs, cats, horses, birds, cows, they're all the same as far as the communication goes. But as far as if the cats are going to get on board, a lot of the cats I work with tell me that they're doing healing work, that they're healing other animals or their people and the planet. And a lot of these cats have humans that are doing energy work. They're artists, something with healing or creativity.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And the people know, they say, yes, there's always certain people that my cat will lay under the massage table when I'm doing energy work or a massage. Not everyone, but just some people.
Right.
So, yeah, and cats too, they like to a lot of the cats that I talk to, they like to help their humans. So we might ask them to give them ideas, give them some creative thoughts for writing, help them with their work, inspire them in some way. So it doesn't always have to be physical.
Right, right. So if you're open, so it sounds like you need to stay really open to the animals in your life, especially the ones who live with you, as far as they might be able to help you with different things that you're trying to do.
Yes, you know, Krista, I made my dog, I have a niece, I made her the friendly greeter. And I learned maybe 6 months ago that that is also, she's taken that physical job at the door that whenever I do readings, she greets the animals I talk to before I even start because she's a friendly greeter.
Right.
And I said, of course.
So she greets the people as well as the animals.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, that probably helps make the other animals that are coming to your house, well, whether they actually physically come or not, make them more comfortable.
And they are. And they told me that early on when I first started doing this, but it was my King Charles Spaniel that primarily was the greeter. So it makes sense that she just stepped into his role, but I just didn't ask. And once I did, you know, I asked her what she was doing and she said, I'm the friendly greeter. That's why they're so comfortable with you.
That's great. Well, it sounds like you really enjoy what you do too. You really enjoy
I do. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and being able to share their messages with their humans. So do you have any classes or anything coming up in the near future? Anything that you're going to be doing?
I do. In the month of June, I have, I'll be at the Daylight Healing Center in Edmonds doing free readings. They're just, you know, short 5-10 minute readings. And that's in Edmonds. And that's this Sunday. And then I'm going to be at Ananda. And I believe that's Saturday the 24th or 24th. Get to the open house.
Right.
And that'll be my first time. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. And then the next day on Sunday, the 25th, I'll be down in Puyallup to it was the Seattle Pet Expo. Now I think it's the Seattle Pet Con or something.
Yeah, they changed the name.
Yeah. But please go to my website. It's my name, darcypariso.com, and there'll be those events with details as well as everything else that's coming up. And I almost forgot I have a class on how to communicate with horses. And that's going to be on Saturday, the 17th of June.
Wow, so you have a lot coming up. And then if people want to work with you or get your help, there's also information there on your website about how they can do that.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to help.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I think people are always fascinated by other people who talk to the animals. So
yeah, well, they can do it too.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing, is to realize that although you're really good at it, we can learn to do it too. And I think that's really important.
Yes, it is. It is. And you'd be surprised at who you're living with.
I'm going to go find out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Darcy. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for coming by.
Okay, thank you.